Hi, fellow traders. I hope everybody had a great day today. I'm going to have to do 2 days worth of recaps in here. Yesterday, I didn't get a chance to um, do one, so we're going to knock out two for the price of one today. But what I want to share with you today is without commitment, you will never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you never finish. And the consistency I'm talking about is staying the course. Not jumping around from this to that, here to there, everywhere. That you're consistent with your learning, consistent with your application in the market, consistent with your practice time. Everything needs to be consistent so that you stay on track. If you don't, that finish line gets further and further away. Eventually, you can't see it. And if you can't see it, you're probably going to quit. So just remember, you had to be committed to start. Okay, so you started, you're doing it. You committed to this process. Now you have to be consistent in your learning, in the process of growing into your own trader. All right, so yesterday was a terrible day for me. CBAY is the one that I took off after. Unfortunately, the only reason that I went after this stock is I was thinking about HOME from last week and how, it was down so much and we just didn't think it would go. But it was beat down, it would look weak, and I felt it could continue to just, sell off. So there was other stocks. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was HRB was the one. Yeah, HRB. That was the other stock we had on watch. And that one was the more sensible trade. But I was looking for, there I let these, expectations come in, looking for the big win, and let it get into me, and I end up taking a loss. So I was really frustrated about this, what I did in my stock selection, and all of that. So I did some soul searching last night, changed some things around. I talked to you guys about it this morning. I already talked to you about that this morning in chat, so we're not going to go back through that. But was really disappointed in yesterday all the way around. Now, the trade I took in my 5K account, this was nothing but a freaking chase because I was trying to do two things at one time, which you cannot do. And I know it. And I just got caught up in the moment. I jumped in where I shouldn't have, all the way. Here's the 5-minute opening range high. Should have been in down here and would have been able to take profit. But I didn't get in when I was supposed to. Ended up getting stopped out, and waited, for it to pop up, pull back, and we made a higher low. So I'm thinking we're gonna, make this run up, and we failed, pulled back, and we held a 50. So I was in a pretty decent hole by now, and I waited for it to come back and establish over VWAP. Then I got back in and ended up, a halfway decent trade. We came close, within a couple of cents of me being able to take profit up here, and we didn't make it. Ended up pulling back, and I just stopped out. Probably could have left it on and it, got back up there, but after the day I'd had, it was just time to walk away. There was an earnings trade, but it was sketchy, so I stayed away from it and, just let this day go on about its business. So like I said, I did a lot of soul searching last night and realized, I need to do this thing the right way, and just focus on, first things first. Focus on the open with the account I'm supposed to be trading at the open. And then later on in the day, we've got other opportunities. So just had to get the ship righted. But only 2 days into this deal, and I think I got it figured out. So that was yesterday. 2 red in both accounts. It's been a while since I took some red days, but it never feels good. Oh, sorry, don't need that. All right, so this morning we traded PLAY. This is what they reported earnings yesterday, and this was the one that we were looking at yesterday on earnings. I didn't trade it because the setup wasn't the way it didn't set up the way I thought it was going to go, so I stayed away from it. But we did the opening range breakdown on this, and this was on short sale restrictions, so it's a little tricky getting in. But we got in really nice entry here up against the 5-minute opening range low. Actually, this is a little bit higher than it should be, down a little bit more. So I was really, really right on the entry. And we had a little fight back, but ended up catching my first target. Came within 2 cents. Just like yesterday. Came within 2 cents of hitting my profit target. And then it just left. I mean, it was only there a split second. And it left. It never came back. Just like yesterday, never gave me a chance for it to get back and for me to recover it. And so I just kind of held this last piece all day. It never really broke out. Like here, we closed over the 9. This candle never made a new high. And by then, the 20 was right here on top of it. So I just kind of deferred to the 20 here. And we just held it and held it. Here we popped up over the 20. This never made a new high relative to that. So kept on going. Kept on holding. And eventually, we got it. Now, once we broke over it here, the 50 was down here. So I had continued to move my hard stop down, and I think I had moved it down to either 40.55 or 40.65, which would have been a profit stop anyway. But it never did push the 50. It came back through, and it hit my target. So being patient and letting it come back down, I ended up maximizing the deal. We got the meat of the move. Yeah, I missed this last piece here, but it hit my target. And trading in this account, when I don't have the ability to size up, I can't scale out. These stocks that I'm trading aren't going to give me the moves. Now, obviously, if this stock was giving me the moves, I could scale out. But this wasn't giving me the moves, so I couldn't scale out. There was nothing I could do other than let it hit my targets and take it off. So execution was 100%. I'm really pleased with this. So nice 96.94 profit day. And you got to remember, we started the day at $700. I was down to $700. And this is why I told you guys, don't try to start with $500. Because if I started with $500, I'd be dead in the water. I would have no margin. So you want to start where you have enough room, because you're going to have losing trades. There's no way you're going to go through this and have winning trades all the time. I don't care what strategy you trade. So you got to make sure you have some type of buffer so that you can lose a couple of trades and still stay in the game. And that's what we did. Monday and Tuesday, those were the first days I was back in this account. It's frustrating. The playbook is really limited. The stocks that you trade is really limited. Everything is limited, and so going from being able to pretty much trade what I wanted to now only being able to focus on a narrow group of stocks, it can add a little stress to it. But I'm dedicated to showing you guys just how you can grow this account. Now the account that I start with 5K every month, that's the same account I started with $1,000 back in June of last year. I started with $1,000 with it. By the end of December, I had just under 10 grand. I was able to wire out 4,000. We had a great Christmas, and started with 5 grand at the beginning of January 1st, and I've been recycling it every month. Every month, wiring out, starting with 5 grand. Every month, wiring out, and we're almost at 25K. Going into 6 months, right at 25K. So I plan to do the same thing with this, so you guys don't get lost. You have to stay committed. You have to be consistent with this. You can't stop and then come back 6 weeks from now and say, hey, I'm still at $800. I'm still at $700, and you're at 12. I'm sorry. You got to be consistent. So if you want to join this, I'm showing you step by step what you got to do, how to take the bad days, with the good days, how we're going to grow this. So just, don't quit before your learning is complete. You got to be consistent with it. So that's going to do it for me today. We are going to get back at this thing in the morning. See if we can keep this momentum going. I really got frustrated today. I didn't get to take any earnings trades in my other account, my 5K account, because I could not get in earnings whispers. And I need the data there to help me finish putting my picture together and coming up with a consensus on where the stock's going to go, so I'll know what I'm looking for. I could not get on it, so without the data, I couldn't come up with a good any good direction on these earnings, so I don't trade it. If you don't have an edge, it is gambling. So if I can't put my edge in this, if I can't apply my edge to the market, then I'm not trading it. And so that's what we're dealing with today. So maybe tomorrow's Thursday, we may have an earnings trade or two. That's the last day of this week we could do any. So maybe we'll catch one good earnings trade. But this week is this really has been a slow week for me. But it's because I am getting acclimated to this change. It's going to take a minute. So I just need to be patient and let this thing work. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's it. I'll catch you guys in the morning.